Hello, and welcome back to Honorable Mentions. I'm Emily Barker,
I'm Gianna Cocovinas.
I'm Cameron Deschner.
and today we are going to talk about Honors 101.
Yeah.
I have finally completed Honors 101, the honors courses.
Go Gianna.
Thank you. So now I'm happy I can finally talk with you guys
Yes.
about all the books you guys read.
So, as must be clearly evident, Gianna just took Honors 101 this semester. And she took it with different professors than Cam and I. That was where we met.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really fun episode because Cam and I can reminisce and also talk to Gianna about what was different about our two classes.
Yeah.
So Gianna, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just go over, I guess, some of the books that I read that I really liked. One book that stands out is just because I know Emily was talking to me about it when I was in 102 with her, was Lysistrata. And I think it's just a really funny, like, lewd book that you don't expect it going in. You think it's going to be like some like great epic, kind of from like the themes that we've been reading, epic poetry and all of that, but it's not. It's about women that are trying to end this war, and all the way that they navigate that and use their powers by restricting sex on the men. And it's very funny to talk about that in a classroom setting, but I really liked it. The scenes were very funny, especially the scene where I don't remember her name, I'm blanking on it, but that one woman has her husband coming in and she's pretending that she's gonna have sex with him, and she's like draping the bed. She finds like so many little things in the room to fix and that go wrong, and she's just kind of like busting his balls, so to speak.
Yeah.
It was really funny, and I really liked that one. It was a good story. Good pick me up.
I think it kind of reminds me of something I don't like totally agree with, but rather that I think is really interesting throughout history, because you see it in a lot of TV shows and stuff reflected. I'm just going to call it the handkerchief effect, where the classic like old times, the woman would drop her handkerchief, the guy picks it up to give it back to her, and the guy thinks it's his idea, right? Oh, I'm making the first move, I'm approaching the woman, but she dropped it intentionally, and she made him think that it was his idea. And you see that constantly throughout shows and stuff, and that was something I thought was interesting about that.
I feel like women do that a lot in these. We don't really credit them as well, like in these Greek myths, but in these Greek stories, but like they do that a lot. They have a lot more power than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
So what else did you read, Gianna, that you liked?
Well, since I have my MLP tomorrow, I have a lot of Aeneid on the brain, Virgil's Aeneid, and I really like that because I had never read any of those, like the Odyssey, the Iliad, the Aeneid. So I'm happy that I have a backing. I know what happens in the Odyssey, but the Aeneid was really good. Not many people like Aeneas as a character, but I'm kind of finding there's a little bit of sympathy I can apply to him as I go and then forming my MOP points. But I really like it. I like anything that has like the Greek myths and the Trojan War backstory. So really entertaining, a lot of darkness and heartbreak, but still that's what happens. That's kind of what you expect from anything that's Greek related, but yeah, really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we didn't read the Aeneid in our section of 101, but we read the Odyssey. And that's what I did my MOP on.
Very well done, might I say.
Yeah, your MOPs are always great. I'm sorry I wasn't there to see that one. That was the one I didn't see.
Gianna doesn't like you.
No, I always tell her. Her MOPs are amazing. You have such interesting ways to connect them to the real world. What did you do your MOP on? Fate?
No, actually, I did mine on virtue in the Odyssey.
Oh, okay. Like Odysseus and virtue?
Somewhat. Okay. Kind of like how, I guess it has to deal with cultural relativism. I don't know exactly what the scholarly term for it would be. But basically, even though a lot of what Odysseus doesn't necessarily in the Odyssey is something we would look down upon today or say that's bad, that's not good, at the time would have made him like, one of the most virtuous men, or at least like a paragon in some way. So that's what I talked about in my MOP. And Cam, I think you also had a fairly good MOP.
Oh, thank you.
What was your book?
I'm trying to remember because I get all the honors sections at a point kind of get like jumbled in your memory a bit if you don't carefully like segment them into it. So you guys are a lot better at that than I am.
So
it wasn't the Augustine one. That was the next one.
No,
yeah.
I can tell you actually, and I'll tell you why I remember. It was the Tao Te Ching.
Right. The minute you said that, it came flooding back.
And the only reason why I remember that, I'm sorry, I do not remember much of what you argued.
Doesn't matter.
But
yeah, neither do I.
But what I remember is, so that particular section, the professors wanted us to have discussion questions prepped. And one of Cam's discussion questions was, so we have a friend named Jason, and Jason's from Long Island and is very proud of that fact.
Staten Island.
Islanders.
And basically, Cam asked the class to discuss something along the lines of like, if Jason was following the way because he was obsessive for Staten Island.
A true countryman for his place, for his birthplace. I do remember that MOP, and now that you say it, because I think it's really funny that one, I had to do it on Prezi, right? I couldn't do the normal PowerPoint because the teachers before my MOP, they were like, oh yeah, we're kind of sick of constantly seeing PowerPoints. Can you do it on Prezi? I'm like, I've never done a presentation on Prezi. So I did that. That wasn't bad, I don't think.
No, it wasn't. I was curious about that though, because I remember you doing it on Prezi, and I think you were the only person in that semester who did it on Prezi.
I was the only one who got that.
And then literally one of the first things Dr. Carlson said this next semester was, for your MOPs, please do not do any of them on Prezi because it makes me sick.
I remember her saying it. She's like, one kid did them one time and it did not work. And I was like, I hope that wasn't Cam.
I mean, even if it was water under the bridge now, they led me wrong, but that's okay. No, but I remember too, just specifically about the Tao Te Ching. Really interesting, honestly, if anybody has a chance to read on their own, because it's like kind of short in some ways, if that makes sense. Fun to pick apart. But it's spelled like Tao, right? Said Tao with like a D, right? Tao Te Ching. All of my brain power went in to not saying Tao because I'm reading it, I'm seeing it, and I'm trying to give like a complex argument. Because as a freshman too, I really wanted to like, you want to stand out, you want to like really get this right. So I had like a pretty complex argument, I think, but just trying to remember the proper pronunciation of it was Dow Day, I believe, or something like that. And that was just like everything I could do. And I think I nailed it too. I was really proud of myself.
I do the same thing. I'm writing my script for the Aeneid, and I can't, like, every time I write N-A-N-E-I-D, not the E in the middle. And so I'm just like always writing Aeneis, Aeneis, Aeneid. And it's not, I have to just do like find and replace everything with all the words.
Another thing I remember about Cam's MOP is, so MOPs are kind of a big deal here. So naturally you want to look nice for them. But for most of us, maybe it means like putting on a nice shirt with a good pair of pants. Cam, I think you came in a shirt and tie.
I did.
And so obviously you can't see us. And for those of you out there listening who do not know Cam, he's a pretty casual dude. So the fact that he came in a shirt and tie, that's how you knew things were getting serious. Cam was turned on.
Yeah, those were remnants from my high school days where I had to wear a shirt and tie every day. So
you did?
I had to wear a shirt and tie every day. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
It was,
So you knew those times well.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, that doesn't bother me. It may as well be casual clothing to me.
I will say though, I wasn't there for your 101, but every other presentation I've seen you do, you did really well.
Oh, thank
you. You sound like an actual professor. I feel like he does. He seems really confident and comfortable with what he's doing.
That's the thing. You just have to, and this is to anybody listening who is going to give like an MOP soon, or like still maybe struggles with them a little bit. So long as you sound confident in what you're saying, People will believe you.
Yeah.
That's the Eli effect.
Yeah.
That's the Eli effect.
He was helping me today with my ML.
Shout out to Eli.
Eli.
Rolling things back a bit, are there any other books you'd like to talk about that kind of stuck out in your mind from Honors 101?
Was that, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong. It was no, Machiavelli was later.
Yeah, that was Honors 201.
That's 201, that's what it was.
I liked
I liked that one.
I like Gilgamesh. They're like the original hero, kind of, right? And so we read that like way in the beginning of Honors 101, but I really liked it.
Yeah, Cam and I didn't cover that one. Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
From what I remember, he was kind of like a demigod, could you say? I mean, half god, half mortal, I would say. And he was basically the original hero story, and he goes in and fights this monster and with his friend that's like half animal, half person. And it was just a very epic, adventurous tale from what I can remember.
Gilgamesh, King of Kings.
Yes.
Yeah, that is. I think he's a cool character just in general, like in fiction, you know.
It was also cool to see his name in Eternals, Gilgamesh. I was like, oh, I just read that. Perfect. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think finding out one of the cool parts about Honors is, I knew who Gilgamesh was, like back in like high school, you know what I mean? Like you hear these names, but it's interesting to actually get to read the works, because I probably wasn't going to do it on my own.
Yeah.
But at least I got to through this. So even though I didn't get to read Gilgamesh specifically, there were other books, that I just really enjoyed being able to like crack open and actually take a real look at.
Yeah, and now you can really say with confidence, like you can make those jokes because you know the whole like history behind it. I like that.
It's just fun.
I appreciate Honors for that.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about before we end this, Gianna, did you guys do the Bible?
Yes, we did. That was the first one, Adam and Eve.
Yep.
I wrote a paper on that.
Me too.
Yeah,
Emily,
same.
Yep.
Except I think I actually did my paper on Abraham, but same book.
Still
the book of Genesis.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a fun experience for me, because this is why I wanted to talk about it. The first time I ever really enjoyed writing a paper, because they gave us free reign to like pick a thesis essentially and just try to prove it. And that was I did mine on if God was lonely, which is I just think interesting in general. And so I went through the gathering evidence. I wrote the paper and all, and a lot of times when I do that, it's just kind of tiring work, but that was the first time I ever really had fun writing a paper. So I think again that was a really cool experience when I was entering honors. I was like, oh, I enjoy doing these. Not all of them, mind you, but at least the very first one was fun.
Yeah, Honors 101 was just kind of a fun class. Naturally, I am biased towards it because
that's your era.
As I think I've spoken about on here before, that is what I love. I love the classical era, ancient times. So that was what Honors 101 was about. Naturally, that means I had some pretty strong opinions on things. As I think Cam can attest. Because I don't know if I've told this story on here before, maybe during the first episode, but I'll recap. So basically, Cam and I were in Honors 101 together. And one of the works we read was Plato's Republic, which I had studied a year before in high school, and I really liked. And I don't know why. Maybe you can tell me why. Cam decided he did not like Plato's Republic and would try and refute Plato every opportunity he got. So me and another friend of ours, Kat, kind of ganged up on him a bit and were for Plato. And we never devolved into arguments. If we did, we would not be friends. But we had some
intellectual attack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Back and forth.
Yeah,
exactly. We had some back and forth.
That is really kind of the start of like the dynamic that we would just like pick books. Sometimes I think we would do just for like the fun of it too.
Yes.
If I was like, I'll play devil's advocate. As a viewer note, the devil doesn't need an advocate. You don't have to, unless it's for fun like this, where clearly it doesn't matter what I thought of Odysseus's time spent on whatever. It was just to,
Just
go
to
back
get
and
under
forth with
Emily's
Emily.
skin.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But as for Plato's Republic, I think it was just that it's not necessarily that I didn't fully like him, rather that I don't like it when people read something like slightly philosophical for the first time and fully latch onto it and pretend like that's the right answer to everything, which I think people have a tendency to do. So I saw it like kind of forming in that class, not knowing that you had read it before and actually do appreciate that stance. And then the other students as well, kind of like, oh, you know what? I think he is right. I'm like, he's not like right. It's just an interesting way to think about things.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I decided just to like go and like, I don't really like Plato, and then
become
it
the
just
class
started.
contrarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the start of it. But no, it was always a fun dynamic, never actually like bickering or arguing. We always had a good laugh.
Exactly.
During
That's what
it,
honors is though. That's what, like, especially back when we still got to be in the honors lounge, just sitting around the tables and everything, when we just kind of got to share ideas and just, give other points of view. I really like that about honors. I mean, it's a little different now. We're in bigger classrooms and it's just, more of like a teacher student kind of thing, but it was really fun back then when we got to all sit together as equals and just kind of give ideas and read books like that.
Yeah.
I liked it.
The good old days.
Good old days, salad days.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but that kind of seems like the perfect note to end off on for today.
Yeah.
As always, if you would like to come onto the podcast, please reach out to Cameron, Dr. Pathroff, or myself. We would really love to have you on. As you can tell, we're a fun group. This is meant to be a fun podcast. So really, you can come on and talk about whatever you like within reason.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. And with that, who wants to do the honors?
Onwards and upwards, guys. See you soon.